Hi, how are you? It is Friday, October 10th. Can you imagine? October already. Time is flying so fast. Anyway, as you can see, Santiago is good. This time I'm doing the video early. It's about 9:30 or so. And that's the square right now. A few tourists waking up, pilgrims starting to get into the square. It's starting to, we had the peak of pilgrims in Santiago was, 10 days ago, I think, or 2 weeks ago. As you can see on the stats on the that I showed the other day, and I'll show them again now, it's we had 21,000 pilgrims 1 week, or Compostelas, and I think that's the highest we had all year in a week. Since then, it's been dropping off a little bit, and I think now we're coming to the end of the season, and things are slowing down. So I think if you're wanting to walk in the slow season, I think September is no longer an option. I think you need to get into October and so if you're starting now these days, if you start like October 10th, more or less, you'll be finding a lot less people on the Caminos, if that's what you're looking for. Weather-wise, this year it's been very good. I think the next few days will also be very good weather-wise. Of course, no guarantees for what October looks like next year, but at least this year. Weather is good. We have about, I don't know, up to 20, 22 degrees during the day, down to like 10, 11, 12 in the morning. So, and I think no rain, at least in Santiago, in sight for the next 10 days. So it's going to be nice and sunny. So that's good. So what does the numbers look like otherwise? I looked at the September numbers. I have a little note here that I'm looking at. So I'll put up a thing on the screen as well. Camino Frances in September. These are the people that got Compostelas. 35,644 people got Compostelas in September, saying they have walked the Camino Frances. Look at the Camino Portugués. The Portugués por la Costa, 16,072. Camino Portugués Central, 15,771. If you add those two together, you're pretty much at the number of the Camino Frances. So I think that says something, that Camino Portugués has now become so popular, it's pretty much the same numbers as the Camino Frances. Of course, the Frances has been busier for many, many more years, so it has a lot more infrastructure. I'm thinking that the Portuguese is pretty much, they're building up infrastructure now because they're seeing a lot more people walking it, but I wonder if it's probably more difficult to find a bed from Tui to Santiago now than from Sarria almost. I don't know this, but this is something that I've been thinking about, and I think it might be true, especially if you walk in September in the busy days. And if you look at the numbers also, you'll see that there's more people that have gotten the Compostela saying they've walked the Primitivo than walked the Camino del Norte, which I thought was interesting. Of course, it might include people that have walked the Norte and then took a left in Oviedo and then walked the Primitivo, and then they claim the Primitivo instead of the Norte. I'm not sure. Anyway, but it seems like if you want peace and quiet now, it looks like Camino del Norte is not a bad idea. Anyway, for the year, 477,544 Compostelas. I think we're up a little bit, 4 or 5%. I'll put the thing up on the screen. So a thing that I was thinking about also this in October, a lot of places are closing down because it's been a long summer, especially the family-run places that have had pretty much no rest over the summer, starting to close down to get some rest. I would just have this in mind if you plan a winter or a very late fall Camino. For those of you that have walked before, you probably know this, but for those of you that haven't walked before, you might find that some places are closed. I wouldn't worry about it too much because there's always someone open, but just keep it in mind that some places close at the end of the season, and they probably won't open until it gets busier. early next year. A tip that I would say is if you find a place, especially for lodging places, if you find a place that are showing up on booking, it means that they are open. Because you have to be proactive on booking. You have to tell booking that you're open. If you don't tell them, that you won't show up there. So if you don't have to book the hotel on booking if you don't want to, but just to make sure, if you want to check what places are open, just go on booking and see what places you find, and you know them. You know, if you find them on booking, they are open, and you can contact them on your own, or just stop by if you're in town, or if you're in the village where you find a place. What else? Yeah, I mentioned the weather a little bit. It's been very good. We had extremely good weather. We have had some people in my office saying how lucky they have been, because they've walked for the last 3-4 weeks and had 1 day of rain or 2 days of rain, and it's been really good. So, of course, that's this year. If you're planning to walk in October next year, I'm not promising anything, because this is a time of year where things can change. Usually it's a week or two where just someone turns the switch and we go into rain season from the summer season, and so far this year no one has turned the switch. Very good. What else? There's been some talk about the new Compostela rules. I know I mentioned it a little bit last video as well. I haven't heard from anyone this summer that have tried to get the Compostela and not gotten it due to the new rules. So here's the thing. I know the website says it's a bit confusing. That, you know, the most confusing part is just knowing what does the last stage mean, because the new rule says you can walk anywhere on any official Camino. If you have to walk at least 80 kilometers or so anywhere in Spain or Portugal, and then you have to walk the last stage into Santiago. If you do that, and all of this adds up to more than 100 kilometers, then you qualify for the Compostela. So the question is, what is the definition of the last stage? And I think, from what I'm hearing, is I haven't heard of anyone that's been denied the Compostela by misinterpreting the last stage. So where do people start from? I think from the airport, from just before the airport, if you walk the Francés or the Norte or the Primitivo. I wouldn't push it like, I wouldn't walk like from your hotel and into town maybe. But I think if you give it a good shot, if you give it an honest try, they will admit, and they would give you the Compostela if you give it a good try. Very good. Well, I'll be walking back to the office. It's still early. Actually, I'm going to do the video now before 10 o'clock. I think that's the first time ever. I can edit this and get it out. I'll walk back and I'll show you what Santiago looks like early in the morning. Take care. Ciao, ciao.
Ang pila for churches is yeah, this one is pila.
Always a lot of traffic just before 10 because all the delivery trucks needs to be out of Old Town before 10, otherwise they get a ticket.